Right, so to explain the title of this video, I'm going to do it through my very own story. Now, I've only told this story in this amount of detail to one other person. So there's a time in your life, I believe, in every man where there's a loser phase. Now, what is a loser phase? A loser phase is where you literally have nothing going for you at all. You're completely broke, you have no money, you don't have a job, you don't have opportunities lined up, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have any social circles or networks. You just have nothing going for you. You drive a shit car, you live with your parents. At that time, I didn't even have a driver's license, I didn't even have a car. So there's literally nothing going for you in every single area of life, right? You're not fit, you're not in the best shape. So that is a loser phase, where there's just nothing going on for you, literally nothing at all. And now loser phase can hit your life pretty early on, like it did for me. But it can also hit, pretty later on. That's the equivalent of some other people's midlife crisis, right? The loser phase could hit you when you're 40, could hit you when you're 35, hit you when you're 55. Who knows? Who knows? But it hit me when I was 17. 2017, not when I was 17, sorry. It was 2017, I was 20 years old that year. So 2017 was coming towards the end of my esports career as a competitive player. Now some of you that know me already, you know that I was in esports for a long time, but my esports story will be something for another video. So anyway, 2017 is when I stopped playing as an esports player. And when you're a young guy or young teenager at that point, your whole entire identity of who you are is based off of what you do after high school, right? Or what you did in high school. So for example, if you went to university, your identity was a university student. If you did an apprenticeship, right, your identity was a plumbing apprentice, right? Or whatever. And my identity was in esports, was a high-level competitive esports player. And you don't really have anything else to go off of, because at that age, you haven't really done anything, right? You don't really have any life experience. So you never traveled to any places, you never done anything. All you did was just go in school and do whatever the hell you were doing afterwards. And that was it. So that was my identity, a professional, high-level esports player. Now, my esports career ended off a multitude of factors, but in a nutshell, it all came down to the point where I just could not compete at that level anymore. I couldn't keep up with the competition, and yeah, I just fell out. I just fell out of the competition. People were just better than me, period. And my teammates were leaving at the time and all that, and it just compounded to where I just had to stop playing. But ever since, like when I was 16, 17, all I did was play and practice, right? 10, 12 hours a day. I saw the game as just training. Just like if you want to be a kickboxing champion, right? You would go to the gym for 6-8 hours and you would just train. You'd spar, you would hit pads, you'd do footwork drills, whatever. And that was the equivalent of playing the game to me. It was just training. I was just constantly practicing. I want to get better. If I'm not training, I'd be watching replays. I'd be analyzing pro games. everything I did for 10 to 12 hours a day for years was something to do with getting better at the game. And when I stopped officially being a competitive player, that was still all I knew how to do. You just wake up, eat some food because you're hungry, and start playing the game. That was it. And there was this time period over 2 or 3 days where I just kept losing games. I was just losing and losing. And at one point I was staring at the defeat screens and having like a existential crisis. And in my brain I was like, man, why am I trying so hard to win actually? Do I still need to win? I'm not a player anymore. I don't have a team anymore. I'm not competing for tournaments anymore. Not making money off this. So, why am I trying so hard? And why am I getting so sad that I'm losing? So my identity just started to fade away. I didn't know who I was anymore. If you were to ask me, oh, what do you do at that point in my life? I honestly could not tell you. I honestly wouldn't know what to say. So I was just so lost in that aspect. That combined with the fact that I wasn't in the best shape. Right, I wasn't like obese or anything, but I was fat by Asian people standards. Got to the point where other people around me just started noticing I was fat. Like my granddad, that was funny. He started calling me fat. In Cantonese, he called me a Fei Zai Chun, and Fei Zai means fat boy in Cantonese, and Chun is like the last character of my Chinese name. So he'd call me fat boy. It's the equivalent of calling me Fat Boy Alex in English. Same with like one of the regular customers at the restaurant I used to work at. He'd start calling me Fat Boy. But they didn't call me Fat Boy just out of like negativity. It's when Chinese people say that to each other, it's a very neutral statement. So anyway, the point is that people around me noticed I was getting fat. And I noticed I was getting fat. I wasn't obese, but I had a gut. I didn't feel great. I was tired all the time. I wasn't fit. I wasn't nearly as physically as competent as I was when I was in high school, still in high school. Still lived with my parents. Got bugger all money. Right, I was basically broke. That restaurant job was more or less a dead-end job. Like, I had extra money, but it wasn't much. And there wasn't really room or any opportunities for me to move up. So there was no opportunities there. I had nothing going for it. Never had a girlfriend at the time either. And when you're a man at that age, in your early 20s, your late teens, not having a girlfriend or not ever having had a girlfriend is something that always bugs you. It's something that's always in the back of your head. Because there's a little voice that goes, oh, you don't have a girlfriend. Does that mean nobody wants you? Nobody likes you? Are you useless? Are you worthless? Why don't you have a girlfriend yet? Especially when I noticed that people I knew from high school were, dating their second or third girlfriend already. And here I am, just came out of esports, not having any experience with girls. So that was something that I was self-conscious about at the time. And that compounded with the fact that I was broke, I was fat, I had no identity anymore. It was just, that just amplified that insecurity, and it just created like a negative spiral. And to kind of push and to kind of, in an attempt to suppress everything, I actually just kept playing the games. Same thing. Maybe it wasn't 10, 12 hours a day now because I was feeling more tired and I didn't have enough energy. But I was still playing for like 8 hours, at least. I just kept playing the game. And then every time I played the game, right, I'd lose as well. I had games where I lose, and then the same thing happened, right? I lose, and I'd be like, what am I doing? You know, why am I still playing this game? Do I still need to play this game? And then that realization got me thinking, took me back to reality to remind me of the lack of things that were going for me. And because that came back up, I tried to suppress it again by playing the game even more. And there was just like this negative loop that just kept going and just spiraled down into depression. And that was when I got depressed as heck. I was so depressed. And to make it worse, nobody around me knew. I was completely by myself in it. My parents didn't know. I didn't tell my parents because I knew my parents was against esports, especially my mom. My dad was pretty neutral. He wasn't exactly for it. But as a whole, my parents weren't exactly supporting my esports idea. At least that's what I thought at the time. So I didn't tell my parents about it. My grandparents, I'm pretty close with my grandparents and I love them very much. But they were in China at the time. So I didn't feel like they could do anything about it either. My friends didn't know. I didn't really have any friends, right? All my friends from high school, they went to uni, right? They were studying. Meanwhile, I was doing my esports thing. Like, there's nothing to talk to them about. We had nothing in common, so we didn't really talk. So I didn't have any friends to go to, right? So I was completely by myself, alone in this negative spiral down to depression. And I was stuck there for a while. It was a pretty hard time. Just waking up every day, right? Feeling tired. I would like sleep literally 10, 11 hours. Half the whole day doing just nothing but sleeping and lying in bed, and I'm still tired getting up. Just no energy, no motivation to do anything, no new ideas coming to my mind. Yeah, it was just a void, man. I just had nothing going. It just felt like I was stuck in a black hole. Like everything around me was just nothingness. It was just nothingness. And I thought about it many times. Just, well, there's nothing anyway. We may as well just, peace out. Yeah, it was a tough time. Now, there was this phase during this time. So I talked about how I was self-conscious about not having a girlfriend and never have had one at the time. And there's 1 week time period where I was just kind of obsessed about it. Like, I just started, like, it was just too much. The voice in my head got too much. It was like, you don't have a girlfriend. You've never been with a girl. No girl actually wants you. Like, what are you doing? And to prove that voice wrong, like I tried, like I was on the internet, right? I was just searching like how to get a girlfriend, how to talk to girls, right? What do girls like in guys, etc., etc. How to get girls, how to get numbers, whatever. I was just went down this rabbit hole about getting girls on the internet. And at one point, I came across this app, which many of you may know, called Tinder, which is an online dating app. Now, I'm not going to bother explaining how Tinder works because I assume you guys all know how it works already. So I was on Tinder, made a very crappy profile, like the ones where with the crap camera, your photos are all blurry, you got no bio. Basically like the average Tinder profile nowadays, right? It was really bad. So I was swiping on Tinder, and on the second or the third day, don't remember exactly, but it was the second on the third day where I actually finally got a match. And I'm not like most dudes on Tinder, right? Because I've heard that most dudes, they just keep swiping right no matter what. Like, I genuinely only swipe right if I think the girl is attractive. So when I got the match, that girl I thought was attractive at the time. Not gonna say who it is, but she's gotten fat now. But anyway, I was swiping, got a match. Okay, we texted back and forth. She seemed kind of playful, kind of cute. Okay, and that helped me a little bit. I was like, okay, you know what, we're kind of getting somewhere. You know, we still don't have shit, right? There's nothing going on for us, but we're kind of getting somewhere. So, all right, and yeah, I wake up, and I reach for my phone, check my phone. That was like the first thing I did. Wake up, check my phone, and I remember this feeling like as I rolled over. Okay, so you know when the weather's cold, you pull up your blankets, and it gets to a point where you pull up your blankets all the way, like halfway up your face, like to here. You pull up your blankets all the way there because it was that cold. So it was one of those mornings. And when I rolled over to go on my phone next to my pillow, I caught a glimpse of my body at the time. And I remember just feeling crap. You know, like you wake up, you roll over. I had a gut, I had a belly, right? And you roll over, and the belly was just like I'd roll over, and then the belly would just flop on that side. It would flop. It would just be like I'd roll and just flop on that side. I'm on my phone, blah blah blah. Like I had a glimpse of it under my elbow. It's like, oh man, that sucks. Go on my phone, blah blah blah. And when you lie on one side for too long, that side gets sore, so then you roll over on the other side. So I roll over on the other side, and the belly would flop again. And I was just like, and every time I roll over, it's like, oh my God. This thing, it's just like there. It's just, it just felt so garbage. And I remember literally just like putting my hand on it and just rolling over from side to side, just feeling the jello. Just feeling it flopping back and forth, and in my brain I was like, well, if this girl looks decent, shouldn't I at least look decent as well? I mean, it's only fair, right? So I started Googling about losing the fat, losing the little floppy thing that rolled over with me every morning. So at the time, all I knew was that losing fat is calories in less than calories out. That's all I knew. Didn't know anything about micronutrients or exercises to do or any of that stuff. All I knew was the basic number one rule. Calorie in, less than calorie out. That's all I knew. So for starters, I ate drastically less. I don't recommend people reducing their quantity of food to the degree I did. But I just went hard out. Straight off the bat, ate less, and I was on Google and YouTube searching up exercises to do, right? And there was this one video I came across. Some of you might know the channel. It's from Brightside. And that video title was 5-minute ab exercise to do to lose weight or to lose belly fat or something. So and all it is was planks. It wasn't like a 5-minute plank like in one go, but it was like 5 minutes in total. So like you do like a normal plank for a minute, then you do like a side plank for 30 seconds, and you do the other side for 30 seconds, etc. So it was 5 minutes all up. So only 5 minutes a day, planks. It was nothing active either. Like I wasn't running, I wasn't doing jumping jacks, I wasn't lifting weights. It was just planks. 5 minutes a day, that's how I started. And as someone that didn't exercise for 5-6 years at the time, that was quite hard. But every time I made it past it, I was like, damn, I noticed something happened in my brain every time I finished the 5-minute session, the exercise session. Like I had more energy. Just gonna turn the light back on here. I had more energy. Shut up, vehicle. So I had more energy and my brain was just like, boom, this is great. This feels great. Don't know what it is, but this genuinely feels really great. And then it was about a week or 2 weeks in where, you know, the thing that every guy does when they step out of the shower and they look at themselves, right? I do the same thing. Every guy does that. And then I started seeing progress, right? Instead of a round floppy thing, I started seeing the outlines, the simple silhouettes of the beginnings of a six-pack. Just seeing that, and I was like, wow, that's progress. All right. That combined with the fact that I actually genuinely felt great after the exercise, I stopped doing all the exercises and the lose weight stuff for the chick on Tinder to look good for her like I originally intended to do. Forget all about that. I stopped thinking about all of that entirely, almost like overnight. Stopped thinking about that, and I just kept at it because I genuinely felt awesome for myself. I did it for myself. I exercised, I lost weight for myself. That's why I did it. So I kept at it. You know, kept eating less, right? I had nothing going on, so that was the only thing I was really focused on. Kept eating less. Just kept exercising, right? The planks became easier, so I started putting a bit more exercises in, right? The sit-ups, the V-ups, the Russian twists, whatever. I started exercising more. And in 3 months, I lost the weight. I didn't have a full-on six-pack, but I had a solid 4-pack and a vague outline of the last two. And I was like, and I felt so good about myself. My confidence went up. I was more sociable. I was more likable as a person. Yeah, it was just a turnaround. And losing weight was like the big thing where it led me to truly believe where I could just, if I wanted to do it, I can. There was no doubt anymore in my mind. I lost the weight. I wanted to lose. I felt crap. I needed to do something to change. I knew what I had to do. Not completely, but I had to start. You know, slowly figured it out. And I made it. And that feeling of confidence will apply to every endeavor in your life. Whether you're doing business, whether you want to join a club, or, you know, for me, I had to pass a military fitness test when I couldn't even run for 5 minutes, right? It could be further fitness goals. It could be relationships. Could be financial goals. Whatever. It applies to everything. That confidence, where you have a goal, you set it for yourself. You know it's going to take a while. You know it's going to be hard work. But somehow you just have that security in your mind that you can do it. You're going to do it. And that is how I uplifted myself from the deep depths of depression back on the up and up to where I'm at now. And I'm still on the up and up. Still going. I'm not done. And fitness is the easiest thing to start working on when you're depressed, because you don't need much, right? You don't need money. I was broke. I had no money, had no car, no license, couldn't go to the gym. I just did everything in my room, on the bed, on the mattress. You don't need to know anyone special. You don't need a specific place. You don't need any specific equipment. You can just do it, start doing it. So if you're watching this video and you are somewhat depressed and you think you're in the loser phase of your life, start trying to get a six-pack. Genuinely start dedicate yourself and focus as much as you can on getting fit and getting a six-pack, or building broader shoulders, or just getting in better shape in general. And I guarantee that you will start going up. So yeah, that's my story. So I hope you guys got something out of this. And remember to stay focused and stay relentless. And I'll see you guys next time.